Why do we need a dementia-friendly community? What are the benefits of it? Well, we need to help citizens to understand the complicated nature of dementia, thereby becoming less apprehensive of those affected. Professionals, teachers, police, healthcare workers, and especially children, after their indoctrination, must reach out to the general population in a concerted program of of education, thus creating a strong bond between persons of all ages, a bond of awareness and empathy, embracing children and adults, forming a strong sense of communal compassion and an assumption of responsibility when confronting a person with dementia. No more rearing back and in dismay and abandoning them. The sympathetic citizens will come to their aid, thus alleviating their confusion and anxiety. Being dementia friendly is beneficial to us as well as the afflicted person. We become a populace at once, understanding and willing to interact helpfully with the dementia person, making us feel good about ourselves as well. After the often the anger and frustration experienced by the families is detrimental. The burdens of these families may well be lessened when shared by a caring community. It is time for us to foster awareness of the needs of those with dementia. Armed with this knowledge, we are assured greater sympathy and more positive actions. Thank you.
It is a scary thing to a lot of people because they don't understand it, or they associate it with some crazed person simply because they don't understand it. And we would be a lot more helpful to people with dementia if we had more insight to how the world looks to them in contrast to how it looks to us. I know some people who have had relatives, like a neighbor, her mother, she had dementia, and it was pretty sad because sometimes she was the friendliest lady to know, and other times she was so confused that she would leave the house and she would just wander throughout the neighborhood. And of course, the daughter had to work, she had to make a living, and it sounds cruel, but if you understand the situation, you know why she wound up locking her in the house, simply so she wouldn't get lost until she came home from work. But people have to make all sorts of exceptions to take care of their loved ones. And if we understood it more, we could maybe help them along too, We all need help. We all need somebody to understand what's going on with us and put our arms around that person, and we should do that for people with dementia too. In order to make this place more dementia friendly, you can smile more. You can show positivity.
I think the first step should be making people aware of what dementia is. And that one of the things I found, I looked dementia up and Dementia Friendly, was that a loss of memory does not necessarily indicate dementia. And I think that people should be able to quickly evaluate or scan and know if they're looking at someone with dementia. You can't help if you can't identify it.
And then I guess if you see somebody who you think would not mind your assisting them, and that's a little ticklish, I think, to know whether they're having difficulty and want some help. And I find that with my wheelchair, people are often very, very wanting to be very nice. And I'm just a little bit independent. And sometimes I think about that and think, well, I should have been more receptive, but I kind of like the fact that I can do it.
Yeah.
You have to be a little sensitive to all of that as well.
It's actually a two-way street in terms of how we're seeking or recognizing that someone may need some help and can do it graciously so that it's done where they're basically where both of us feel good about the outcome of being helped and helping.
I noticed with my mom, she became very suspicious and she was not particular about talking to anyone because she wasn't sure what her train of thought would be or how her thoughts would jump from minute to minute. So she didn't say anything. She became reclusive.
But she was aware that she was having difficulty?
Yeah, because sometimes she would talk to me, and when I would mention it later, she said, I don't know what you're talking about. She didn't want to admit that she had any frailties. Well, when you're accustomed to being a strong person in a relationship or a family, it's kind of hard to give up that control or admit that I can't do this anymore.
There's very little that we can do by ourselves, even in the best of times. But the community really reinforces, and I think that's what this is all about, because people need to know that they are respected, that they are valued, they have worth. And I think that's what it's all about, is to present that, to enable people to feel that.
Thinking inwardly and focusing on what are the beginning signs of dementia? How does it progress? How can we note things within ourselves and also about those that we really care about? And how can can we show concern without being intrusive? By building a team to, as appropriate, if it's other family members, being honest with ourselves and also with them about concerns to see if there's some collaboration, if there are other things and other ideas that can better assist and support them, and also very much inwardly, just being mindful of what is forgetfulness versus what is going a step further.
Kindness is if that's the only cure right now, then that's the cure that is going to do the best job. And certainly when you go to healthcare professionals, you should never, never, never be treated like the disease or the illness. Treat the person and be respectful of the difficulty they're having.
One of the greatest things that we can do is to talk about it with each other, with medical people that we see, with the people our children see in their classrooms or their schools. You know, like instead of hiding Aunt Susie and not paying any attention to her eccentricities, as they call them, let's talk about them and what makes them mad. And that way you also have another advocate for good care for a person, because you're not the only person who's aware of it. Someone else is too, and they may be able to step in at a time when you're not there, not available.